Welcome back. Up until now, we have talked about what a trust is and the incredible superpowers it can give your assets. But a trust isn't just a static document you sign and shove into a drawer. It is a legal entity that has a lifespan of its own. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Understanding this timeline is the key to moving from having a plan to having a plan that actually works. In this lesson, you'll learn how a trust moves from creation to funding to administration and eventually to its end. You'll also learn what happens during incapacity, what changes after death, and why proper execution matters more than most people expect. Let's start at the beginning. Creation. This is the blueprint phase. This is where you, the grantor, sit down with a professional or a guided tool to put your wishes in writing, where you decide the rules, name the trustee, identify the beneficiaries, and put everything into writing. And one of the most important parts of creating your trust, the signing ceremony. In the eyes of the law, a trust isn't real until it is executed properly. This usually requires you to sign the document, sometimes with witnesses and a notary public. You will need to check the laws of your state to know what is required. At this stage, the trust exists on paper. The rules are clear. But here's the key point. A created trust doesn't yet control anything. That only happens at the next stage. Stage 2 is funding. We will spend the entire next lesson on this because it is that important. Funding is when assets are actually transferred into the trust. You have the blueprint, but now you must actually move your house, your bank accounts, and your investments into the name of the trust. A trust that hasn't been funded is known as an empty box, and an empty box cannot protect your family from the delays and costs of probate. However, once an asset is properly moved into the trust, it becomes trust property and starts following the trust's rules. Stage 3 is administration, and this is where the middle of the story happens. Administration is simply the ongoing management of the trust according to its rules. For most of you, while you are healthy and active, this stage is invisible. If you have a revocable living trust, you are usually the grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary all at once. You keep total control. You can buy and sell property, change the rules, or even cancel the trust entirely if you choose. However, the administration stage gets its moment in the spotlight during two specific detours: incapacity and death. If you were to face a health crisis and could no longer manage your own affairs, the trust has a plan in place. A successor trustee may step in and continue managing trust assets under the instructions already written. The key limitation is this: the trustee can only manage what the trust owns. Anything outside the trust follows other systems, which may require powers of attorney or other documentation. That's why alignment matters. Because the trust already owns your assets, your successor trustee can step in immediately to pay your bills and manage your care. There's no need for your family to go to a judge to ask for permission to use your own money for your benefit. When you pass away, the administration changes again. At that moment, a revocable trust typically becomes irrevocable, meaning the rules are now carved in stone and can no longer be changed. Your successor trustee takes the wheel and begins the after-death administration. This involves a process called settling the trust, paying final debts, filing a tax return, and identifying the residue or leftovers that are ready for distribution. Some trusts distribute assets quickly, others continue for years. Some create new trusts inside them. All of that depends on the instructions already written. This leads us to the final stage, termination. You might be surprised to learn that you get to decide exactly when the machine stops. For some, the trust ends almost immediately after death. The successor trustee simply hands out the assets to the beneficiaries in one lump sum and closes the accounts. This is what we call an expeditious distribution. But for many everyday families, the trust continues for a while. You might decide that your trust should stay open until your children reach age 25, or that it should pay out an inheritance in installments over 10 years. Your trust only terminates when the rules have been followed and the very last dollar has been distributed according to your wishes. There can be limits on how long a trust can continue after death. One reason trusts can't last forever is something called the rule against perpetuities. In simple terms, most states limit how long a trust can remain in existence. These rules vary, but the idea is the same. Property shouldn't be locked up indefinitely without end. This is one reason state-level rules matter, especially for long-term trusts. By watching this video today, you have already gained a massive advantage. You now understand that your estate plan is a dynamic journey, not just a one-time task. You know the importance of a proper signing ceremony, and you see how the trust protects you during life, sickness, and after you are gone. If you want to take a small action today, here it is. Write down the 4 stages: creation, funding, administration, termination. Then think about where you are right now, or where you would be if you had a trust. Awareness alone helps prevent gaps. Trusts work best when they're understood as living systems, not one-time paperwork. You're doing great. Let's keep moving forward on your personal roadmap.